Hello and welcome back to another video. I've come out with a camera to the Essex coast and to a place just outside Walton-on-the-Naze. It's somewhere I haven't been to before, so I think the aim of today will be to see if I can find some interesting compositions and generally explore the area. As you can probably tell, it is quite windy, which, to be honest, is not too bad considering the hot weather we've been having recently. It's actually quite a nice break from that. So in terms of the conditions today, I would say it's quite changeable, and I'm not too bothered by that, to be honest. So one thing I'm trying to do with my photography more recently is come out when the conditions are changeable, and the reason for that is because it seems like recently I've noticed that my images and generally the quality of the light is often so much better when it is unpredictable. And what I mean by that is when there is a lot of cloud cover. One minute it is raining, for example, the next minute it is really sunny. And the good thing about today is we do have that in the area, and the clouds are looking really dramatic, which I'm hoping will result in quite a nice image today. Hopefully that all works out and I find a good composition and everything kind of marries up. So we'll see what I can find. I think, to be honest, like always, it's really good to be outside and go for a walk, and if I don't find any good images, then it's not the be all and end all. One thing that always amazes me about this area, and particularly up in Norfolk as well, is just how expansive it is. You know, it seemingly goes on forever, and I think a lot of the time, especially when I first started with photography, that can be quite intimidating, and it's almost like you don't know where to start. But I think over the years I've just learned to adapt to it, and often it's almost like the harder you look, the less likely you'll see an image, and I think the more you can relax into it, something I've found anyway, is you're more likely to come across those images that you're looking for. And I think if you couple that with going out at the right time of the day, going out in the right conditions, more often than not, that will sort of result in a successful trip, whatever that means to you. But first impressions of this area is it is very expansive and a bit intimidating to photograph. So I've been walking for about 2 miles now, and this is the first time I've stopped in that time, because it's the first sign of life that I've seen, or an interesting composition anyway. So as you can probably see in the scene, I found a jetty, and the interesting thing about this is it has quite a nice curve on it. So normally the jetties in this area are quite straight, and that can, you know, often work for a lot of compositions, but it's always good to find something just a little bit different. I think as well in this scene is, I'm not sure you can see that, but there are two sort of quite lonely boats, and I think it kind of adds more interest to it. Unfortunately, the jetty is sort of curving away from them, so it's not quite the perfect composition in my eyes. You know, ideally the jetty would be curving towards them, just to attract the viewer's eye a little bit more. But I'm going to frame up the shot and see what I can do. The sun is currently behind a cloud at the moment, so I'm probably going to wait around for a little bit to see whether the sun comes out and you know, adds a little bit of light onto the scene. So I framed up the shot and I think it works, to be honest. It's definitely a unique one. If I just show you on the back of the camera, so as you can see, we've got the jetty coming in from the frame on the left hand side, sweeping into the frame, and that kind of leads to two boats right in the middle of the frame. I've currently got it in. I've tried to make it as balanced as I can get it. Yeah, so I've included some of the marshes on the right hand side, you know, just to balance it up a bit. But yeah, I like that the jetty is in the bottom left of the frame. It kind of leads the viewer's eye quite nicely into the scene. I think that was quite a nice scene, and I'm going to walk a little bit further along the path, as I have a feeling there might be a few more jetties along here, as I can see a few boats in the distance. So I'm going to have a walk along here, and if I don't find anything, at least I can walk back and go back to that composition. So I did end up finding another jetty, and yeah, this one is quite different to the one before. It's a lot older, has a lot more character, I would say. So actually, to get out this far, so where I am standing right now, I did have to cross quite a few bridges, which obviously relying that they're well maintained and structurally sound, but no, just really characterful, I think. Unfortunately, the time I've come out today, it's currently low tide, or it will be low tide in a couple of hours' time, and that's not necessarily a problem in itself, but I think for this area and for this jetty in particular, I think you need the high tide, because I think it just simplifies the scene a bit more. And I think you can be a bit more creative when it comes to the photo. You know, get like an ND filter on and sort of draw out the shutter speed and have that sort of silky effect of the water. At least I know there are compositions to be found, and I know the conditions to come back to next time to get the photo that I think will work. But I'm obviously going to stick around for sunset. I'm hoping that it will turn out to be a good one. I can see that there aren't any clouds on the horizon, so I'm hopeful that there might be a last burst of sunlight, and hopefully some of the clouds might light up, which, you know, could compensate for the you know, the lack of image that I might have here today. But yeah, I'm going to get the camera out, I'm going to work with what I've got, and yeah, see what I can come away with. So I think I found my shot for this evening. So I did walk down to the jetty just before getting to the boat, and yeah, I kind of found the shot straight away. So I think it's quite an obvious one, but in the mud there's this really great S-curve, obviously left by the tide, and yeah, it's just really quite a pleasing shape, and yeah, it just kind of reveals all the textures adding into the mix. You know, you've obviously got the boat, which kind of adds a little bit of interest and character, and you've got the sort of leading line of the jetty, and I think hopefully where the sun will set and you know, burst through the clouds, that will just kind of make this scene, I think. So fingers crossed it works out. Starting to see a really pink orangey glow on the horizon. It's just whether it's going to reach the clouds over where I am. But yeah, I don't know, but it's really exactly where I want it to be. So hopefully it does kind of light up the clouds a little bit more.